If you're looking to improve and have your gameplay broken down, go ahead and make sure you follow me over on Twitter and look for this specific post where I'm asking for gameplay to actually break down. So we're going to be looking at some gameplay on Euphrates Bridge, and one of the things you really got to be aware of if you're going to be playing Domination is there's pretty much 3 different ways to play this, or at least that's how people play it. The main correct way is to go up on top of the bridge, hold B, and then pretty much shoot people as they come up on B or as they're coming out of spawn. That's pretty much the boring way. It's a little bit slower, but that's pretty much the correct way to play it. The second way is to go ahead and make sure that your team is up on B. You still have your home flag, whether that's C or A, and then you're kind of infiltrating the enemy spawn by sticking in the building closest to the spawn, but not actually going into the spawn. And that's pretty much what you're going to do. Patrol, get some easy picks, try and streak up really quick. If you die, no biggie, because if you've already gotten your streaks, you're going to be able to get another set if you've played your cards the correct way. But again, that really depends on how all your teammates play. You can see they've started over at the C spawn. They jumped on the flag. It is a little bit grainy. That's just kind of how it is when people submit the gameplay, because they don't have all the higher recording quality, and that's just kind of how it goes. So it looks like there's 2 different options here. You could either go up the ladder, like I was trying to capture B, maintain that map control, and hopefully you got a couple teammates that go up with you. The other thing is to kind of hang down low, clear out the bottom, because people tend to camp around this left side. So he's pre-aiming a good area. I wouldn't necessarily use this optic. I'm not a fan of it on the M4, but if you like it, more power to you. So see how he kind of plays this. He runs underneath. They are losing Bravo, or him and another teammate are down here, and literally none of the other teammates are up top. All his other teammates are sitting back, probably sniping, not really much contributing to the objective there. What we will look at here is if you look at how he aims down sight, as he comes around the corner, he ends up looking at the floor. And that is a typical indication of like not having proper centering. So when he actually aims down sight, you can see he'll come across and then he aims at the floor when he aims down sight. When this little area is probably where like 80% of people are going to be running from A, where they capture it, up to this stairway. That's going to be a majority. The door's open, that's another thing. So typically what you're going to do is check for this first. This is probably the highest priority. And then if the door's open, obviously you can see through the door. And then there are people on the left. So you got to be watching that angle, because someone could be on that second story and kind of just pre-aiming you. So that's a little bit of the movement there. Kind of peeks it again and then runs across. And he hasn't even cleared this side over here. So this is not a good run option, because literally you're asking to be shot in the back. Boom, gets shot in the back. And I pretty much kind of called it. I have not watched this, so it's literally a live comm. That guy's camped up in a weird spot. The team has already lost map control. They are trying to take B back, so that was good. And then now he's got to go ahead and push through. He's going through the bottom again. And that's, like I said, there's the 2 different strategies. It's kind of in the open, not really taking that as an angle. He just happened to win that gunfight because he does have an M4. You shouldn't really lose gunfights with an M4 unless you're going against one of the other meta weapons, like the M4, MP5, RAM. Those are the majority of the guns, unless you just get absolutely obliterated by like an Odin or something like that, where it does have a fast time to kill, but they have to hit both of those shots or 3 of those shots, depending on the weapon. So he's tested kind of the right idea here. He's pushing up. This left side is, I mean, like I said, you can go to the other side, but typically you're going to stay around the building so you can kind of maneuver, listen for audio cues. Right here, the only real problem with this route is, even though it is a decent route, you're kind of left open where you can get shot from the right, the left, directly in front of you. And there's a lot of different foliage around that will actually hide the player. And in some angles, they could see you before you see them. So it's not always the best route to go this way unless you just absolutely have to. Or potentially you have that advanced UAV or a UAV in the air where you kind of trust that not a lot of enemies have ghost. So he's pushing through. This is pretty good pre-aiming. I'm not expecting a ton of traffic in that area, but they should be cutting across from left to right. They spawn over on this left side. Snaps on. Aiming seems a little bit weird for this player, so it might be just a hair too high. If you look, they end up killing this guy on the right, and then when they see the other guy, they end up looking at the bottom left of this crate. Instead of kind of towards the center. So that's all centering. Might be a little too high because they're dragging it overly aggressive instead of lining it up where the target is likely to be. So you'll go ahead and see it again. Looks, boom. He way over here to the left. And he's correcting and he overcorrects this way and then he ends up looking at the ground. Luckily, the guy was not really paying attention. They do a trade-off with the RPG. He gets taken out right there. I don't know why that was the kill cam. He got blown up by the RPG. So the guy killed himself, which he got the credit for because he did damage. The guy RPG'd him. But he could have killed that guy before the guy even had a chance. Again, this is a common area. If you're going to run out this way, you have to make sure that this is pretty much 100% cleared. And you'll know pretty quickly if you peek it, people start shooting. Just go ahead and kind of shoulder peek, and that'll give you an indication of where they're at. Maybe you go up top and try and kill them from a different angle. Or you just kind of avoid this side completely because the people over here are not contributing to the objective at all. If you hold up the map control, those are just people that are not going to help at all. And generally they stay on that head glitch camping with some claymores, long range weapons, whether it's the M4, PKM, a sniper rifle, Kar 98, whatever it is, they're going to focus on that long range distance. So they're not moving from there. You just got to kind of figure out those behaviors. So a little bit of a shoulder peek here. Kind of runs across. Let's see. There's still people up top. I don't know what his teammate's doing. His teammate's his first time playing. Not able to hit the shots there. Cleans it up a little bit. There he gets the little revenge kill. He's running point man, by the way. If you're going to run point man, you should probably jump on the objective. Try and get some of those capture kills. Maybe some of those defend kills. Otherwise, you're kind of just wasting the perk. You might be better off with restock, hardline, so you get the streaks faster based off kills. And then on top of that, you could also go with ghost if you're worried about the enemy calling in the UAV and you're not having a launcher to shoot it down. You got to assume, oop, he got shot at. You can see where the gunfire's at. If you look on the compass, literally right here at the top, it's telling you exactly where the guy is. So if you peek your shoulder out, the guy's going to be pre-aiming you. I would probably avoid that area. Because it sounds like they have some kind of sniper rifle or like something that's firing one bullet that deals a lot of damage, regardless if that's one of the marksman rifles as well. You can see where he's at. He kind of lines it up the shot. Teammates potentially could have killed the guys. It's hard to tell. And then he gets basically cleaned up from behind. The guy comes through with the MP7, pre-aims it a little bit. He lands first shot, ends up winning. He was a little bit hard to track the target. The sensitivity might just be a hair too high. I'd probably try dropping it down by 1 and see how that goes. You're probably going to win a little bit more gunfights that way because obviously the biggest reason you lose a gunfight is if you miss shots or you're really slow in reaction. And right here, the reaction time seems fairly okay. It just seems like you're missing that first shot accuracy, which is one of the more important shots to land because then you cause flinch. It makes it harder for your enemy to hit shots. In most cases, sometimes they could flinch up, get a headshot, and then you're kind of screwed. So he's never gone up on the bridge once by the objective one. So he's going up top first time. There are people up here. I heard a guy to the left, and there's a guy straight in front of him. There's two actually. Dragunov. Ooh. So there was a guy to the left that called in the Predator missile or the cruise missile, and that's kind of what you see on the keypad. And then there's two on the right. So there's basically 3 or 4 people up on the bridge. We were able to see at least 3. 2 on the side he got shot from, got spotted, and then there was 1 calling in the Predator missile. So the enemy team is playing the objective the right way. If he probably would have jumped up there from the beginning, kind of when his team was up there, would have been able to contribute to that map control. Because the opposite ends up happening. Since they didn't get that control right away, he ends up getting a position where somebody on the enemy team is playing it one of those 2 ways. He has his teammates up top, and then they're pushing forward where they're actually getting the spawn trap because enemies will spawn heavily on their objective, at least on this side of the map on C, and it's kind of easy kills if the enemy can get into this building directly in front of you. So this, it seems like a weird ADS spot. Like, I don't know why he's ADSing there. So if you look at he comes around over here, I'll pause it once he ADSs. And he's checking the scoreboard. He got 8 kills. There's almost nobody here. 9 times out of 10, the enemy is going to be up on the bridge. So that's one potential area. The other majority is going to be right there to the left of this statue, because they're going to be sitting on a head glitch. They're not going to be standing out in the open, most likely. Coming up the stairs or on the right in the building. He's literally looking at the least, probably the least chance of where people are going to be popping up at. And this is kind of a wasted aim down sight location. I wouldn't aim right there, especially since that is not a high traffic area. If he just popped up here and was ADSing where he originally got killed from, maybe on this right side, makes sense. If he ADSs the statue, makes sense. ADSs the building, makes sense. This spot, not so much. So right here, the game's still fairly close, but I have a feeling that they're going to get to a point where they're going to start getting slaughtered, just because you can see the behavior of the team. Literally, no one's moving the spawn. Lisi, he's a little bit braver, walking out there for the most part by himself. There are one or two teammates that are trying to move around, like this guy on the left, this guy on the right, guy at the bus is camping it out. They do have a VTOL in the air, so this would be like the prime spot to actually push forward as a team, have a little bit of confidence, and actually try and make something happen. But as we've seen in domination matches, teammates literally play domination to camp in their own spawn, and they just got the enemy VTOL coming in. So this could be a good opportunity to maybe switch to cold-blooded and have that ready to go so you can shoot that down immediately. Because right now, here's where the spawn trap happens. Things start going downhill pretty quickly. And if everyone's going to be sitting in the spawn, they should be switching to cold-blooded, shoot down the VTOL. Because the next streak the guy's going to have is potentially a chopper gunner. Because a lot of times, people that are going for streaks, they typically go for the chopper gunner next or that advanced UAV, because they're going to try and attempt to go for a nuke. Because this is one of the most nukeable matches, because if you get the right people where they just continue running out of spawn, they're not all using one-shot kill weapons, you got a good opportunity to streak up, especially with the advance. You can push into the spawn, especially if you're doing it kind of solo or at least with one other teammate. He's hard aiming down sight. The guy's coming in on the left, so he's playing it cautiously. And just kind of playing it the way he almost has to. No one's moving forward. People are getting killed out of spawn. The guy's coming up. Fires a good amount. Cooks the nade. In this particular scenario, Semtex C4 might be better. Nades, I don't really see those doing particularly well in this type of objective game mode. I think those are better suited for like search and destroy, where you can literally cook it to the last millisecond when it hits the ground at a particular area, and you practice those particular throws on certain bomb sites. Domination isn't really one of those ones that you should be using a frag. And now you can see the guy is sitting exactly where I kind of said people like to sit at. There is a guy obviously up on top of the bridge where I talked about, and then there's a guy on the statue to the left. And when you do those little zoom ins and you see the kill cams, you can actually see where the enemy players are. You should know that there's someone literally on this head glitch to the left. The guy on the bridge ended up getting killed. They kind of traded out. Sniped you. One of your teammates sniped him. And you're kind of just getting spawn trapped by this dude in this building. It's creeping up. And this is a good way to creep up, especially if you're kind of like cautious as you come around. Because there's usually in this little pocket right here on the left. That's usually where kind of people hang out. They jump out, pan out, check out the room. And then they can actually see this sight line of this path. So if this right side's clear, then you can go ahead and check the left. It's kind of a 50-50. But usually you get pretty decent coverage from the bridge, because as you creep up here, you have a wall and another wall blocking that vantage point. Peeks up. Exactly what I said. There's usually someone on that left side. That is probably one of the worst jump ups, because it's very predictable because of where you can jump up at. It's very predictable, and your vantage point isn't all that good because the angle you have isn't all that great, but you can get hit from probably about 4 different angles by literally jumping up on that wall. So I would just go straight, check the left side. The guy should be trying to jump out to catch you coming out of spawn. He jumped up, he saw you jump up on the wall, so he took you out there. But if you came around, he would have been able to try and peek on you, and you would at least had a 50-50, because they don't really have cover from where they're at. But where you kind of jump up, you give them an easy sight line, a little bit slower mobility because you're literally mounted, and it's not a good spot. He's coming up again, and you can see the centering is not good. I don't know if that's related to just body habits, or just their sensitivity is too high. They end up looking at the top right. I'll pause it when it gets there. He comes up. There is never anybody ever going to be up here. The crosshair should be kind of directed towards here, or potentially on the vehicle would have made sense as well. But somewhere in this line of sight is where people are going to be, straight across to this diagonal from basically from the bottom of the screen up to where the mini map is, that little angle. Nobody's right here. And he's able to take the guy out. Luckily, the guy wasn't paying much attention. So in this particular case, Hardline might have been better because I think he did go on a 3 streak, which would have helped him get a UAV. And that pretty much ends up being the match. He ended up with 12 kills. These are typical Domination score lines. So 12 and 14. He barely went 1 positive. Had 0 captures. Not that that's a huge indicator of whether you're playing the objective, but they didn't go for the home flag, which is perfectly fine. Sprint past that. Go get B. Do everything you can to help get B. When you had that map control, you were at least pushed up at the middle of the map. As soon as you lost that map control, you got pushed and locked into spawn, and that's one of the biggest problems with Euphrates Bridge. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the breakdown. I am going to leave a post so you guys can go ahead and leave your links to your videos so I can go ahead and review those in a future gameplay breakdown. If you like these to continue on the channel, please remember to hit that like button. And if you're brand new to the channel, haven't yet subscribed, definitely consider subscribing because there's about 80% of you out there that continue to watch my videos but haven't yet subscribed. So definitely consider that before you click away. Appreciate all the support on the channel. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.